Welcome to Power BI Tutorials. This video will show you how to create a date table in Power BI using DAX. If you already know how to use DAX and just want to copy some date code, you can get this from my blog, and I've put a link to the post in the description below. Before you start writing any DAX, you need to turn off the Power BI Auto Date Time option. This is switched on by default when you set up a Power BI project and is great if you need basic calendar columns, but should be turned off if you're creating your own date table. To do this, go up to the File menu, Options and Settings, Options, and then click on the Data Load under the Current File heading and untick Auto Date Time. The minimum requirement for a Power BI date table is a table with at least one column containing dates. This date column has to span across 4 years, it cannot contain blanks or have missing dates, and all dates must be unique. Now there are 2 ways to create this column using DAX. The first is using the calendar command, which requires you to input a start and end date, and the second is using the calendar auto command. This searches all tables in Power BI to identify the minimum maximum dates in your data model. For this tutorial, I'm going to use the calendar command option. First, you need to create a blank table in which to write the DAX. So go to the modeling menu and select New Table. Next, you use DAX to create the date column in the code box that appears. Click on the down arrow here to expand this box, which gives you a bit more room to write your DAX. Now replace what's in the box with the calendar command. Start with the table name, so I'm calling mine date table, equals calendar, open brackets, then the date you want your table to start at, followed by the date you want it to end at. Remember, it has to span 4 years. So my table starts 1st of January 2000 to the 31st of December 2023. Press enter and Power BI runs the DAX to create the table. To view the date table, minimize the code box, click on the data tab on the left, and the date table appears in the table list on the right. And as you can see, it has created a table with a single date column. Next, you need to set the table as a Power BI date table. Click on the 3 dots that appear next to the table name in the Fields panel. Select Mark as Date Table, and then select the date column from the drop-down list. Press OK. And now this table is set up as a date table. And there you have it. You've created a very basic DAX date table in Power BI, and it's ready to be used. However, it will be far more useful if you add some additional date columns such as month, year, quarter, etc. And I'll show you how to do this next. To start with, I'll add a column containing the day of the month. So first, add a new column to the date table by clicking on the 3 dots that appear next to the date table name. Then select New Column. This creates a new column and opens a formula bar ready for you to name the column and add the DAX code. So I want to name this new column Day, and then I'll use the Format command to retrieve the day of the month from the Dates column. And now you can see that the new day column has been added to the table. Next, I'll repeat this process to create a month column. So create a new column and use the Format command again to retrieve the full month name from the date field. And now you can see that this new month column has been added to the date table. Remember, you can pause this video anytime to copy down the DAX code. Now I'll repeat this process again, and this time to create a year column. So add a new column and again use the format command to get the year from the date field. And now this new column has also been added to the table. Now you have a far more useful date table with a day, month and year column. There are many more date information columns you can add with DAX, and which ones you use depends on your preference and report requirements. For the rest of this tutorial, I'm going to create an additional 16 DAX date columns. I've listed these columns with the time they appear in the video in the description below, so you can jump to the column you want to add to your date table. Next, I'll add a calendar quarter column. Again, I'm using the format function to get the quarter from the date field. This time I'm also adding a Q before the quarter number, as I want my calendar table to display them as Q1, Q2, Q3 or Q4. And now you can see that the quarter column has been added to the table. Next, I'm creating a calendar month number column. So again, using the format function, this time with a capital M, we'll return a value of 1 for January, 2 for Feb, 3 for March, etc. This column is really useful and can be used to order the month name column correctly. Now again, I'm using the format function, but this time with 3 capital M's, to return the short month name. So this will return the month as JAN for January, FEB for February, MAR for March, etc. The final month column I'm going to create is one that displays the first letter of the month name. I'm going to use the DAX left function for this, which returns a number of characters from the start of a text string. For the first parameter of the left function, I'm using the format function to get the full month name. And then I'll use 1 for the second parameter to bring the first letter back. And here you can see the column has been added to the table. Now I'm going to create a month-year column that has the short month name followed by the full year. I'll get the month using the format function, then add an ampersand, double quotes, space, double quotes, ampersand, and then use the format function again to retrieve the full year. And there you can see it has been added to the table. To enable me to order this month-year column chronologically, I'm going to add a month-year number column. So again, I'm using the format function to get the full year, and then the ampersand, followed by the format function to bring back the month number. And here you can see it's been added to the table. Next, I'm going to create a financial month number column, and this is where the DAX starts getting more complicated. For this example, I'm going to set the financial year to start in April. So April will be numbered 1, May 2, June 3, etc. But you can change the DAX to have the financial year start on any month you require. Start with the column name, financial month number, then use the Shift and Enter key to create a new line of code. And now I'm going to set up a variable to say which month the financial year starts at. So use the VAR function, and I'm going to call it financial start month equals 4, as I want the financial year to start in April. You can obviously change this to any month number you require. Next, use return, and then I'll create an if statement. So if the month from the date field is greater than or equal to the financial start month variable, then set the value as the month number minus the financial start month plus 1. Otherwise, set the value as the month number plus 12 minus the financial start month variable plus 1. It does look quite complicated, but it does work, and it brings back the financial month number, as you can see. Next, I'm creating a financial quarter column. First, by creating a financial start month variable, and again I'm going to set this to April. So my first financial quarter will be for April, May, June. I'll set a new variable called MN, and this is the month from the date field. This saves me typing the code out in full every time it's needed. Return, and then I use an if statement. So if the month number is less than the financial start month, set the value to Q, and then we use the format and roundup functions to round up the value of month number minus the financial start month number plus 13, and then divide that by 3. We put a 0 for the number of decimal places we want to round up the number. We just want the numbers 1, 2, 3 or 4. Then the second parameter of the format function is a blank, as this will format the value as a general number. So if the month number is greater than or equal to the financial start month, then again we use the format and roundup functions, and to round up the value of the month number minus the financial start month plus 1, and again divided by 3. Now's probably a good time to pause this video to copy the code down. The next column I'm going to create is the financial year column. As with the previous two columns, I'll create a financial start month variable and set it to 4, and then an if statement. So if the month from the date field is greater than or equal to the financial start month variable, set the value to the year from the date field. Otherwise, set the value to the year from the date field minus 1. The next column I'm going to create is the financial year display column. This creates a user-friendly financial year display, for example 2000-2001. So I'm going to start with a financial start month variable, return, and then an if statement. So if the month from the date field is greater than or equal to the financial start month variable, then set the column value to the year from the date field, dash, and then the date field year plus 1, so to the following year. Otherwise, set the column value to the previous year, dash, and then the year from the date field. So you can see what it looks like in the column that's been added here. The next column is the day of the week, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. This is simply using the format function to get the day of the week from the date field. Now I'm creating a short day of the week column, so this will have a value of MON for Monday, TUE for Tuesday, etc. Again, just using the format function, this time with 3 lowercase d's. This column is going to bring back the first letter of the day of the week. So M for Monday, TH for Thursday, SA for Saturday, etc. For this, I'm going to use the switch function, which gets the full day of the week using the format function. And if the day of the week is Monday, it sets the value to M. If it's Tuesday, sets it to T, Wednesday, W, etc. And now the day of the week letter column has been added to the table. The final day of the week column I'm going to create is the day of the week number. And for this, I'm going to use the weekday function. The weekday function has two parameters. The first is the date field, and the second is a number that determines the return value. So I'm going to put 2, so this means the week begins on a Monday and ends on Sunday. So Monday is given a value of 1 and Sunday is given a value of 7. You can put 1 here instead, and this means that the week begins on a Sunday and ends on a Saturday. So Sunday is given a value of 1 and Saturday is given a value of 7. Now I'm going to create a weekend column, which uses the switch function to set the value to a yes if the day is a Saturday or Sunday, and no for all of the other days. If your weekends are Friday and Saturday, you can change this in the code. I'm now creating the week number column, and this uses the week num function to return the week of the year number the date falls into. This function has two parameters. The first is the date field, and the second determines whether the week starts on a Sunday or Monday. I'm going to put 2 for the second parameter, as I want the week to start on a Monday. Put 1 if you want it to start on a Sunday. And that's my DAX date table completed, and it's ready to be used in Power BI's data model. I hope you found this video useful. Please check out my blog and other videos for more easy to follow tutorials.